Get off the road!
All right. Hi, I'm Mike of Mike's Road Trip, and on this episode, I feature New Brunswick. This Canadian province shares a border with Maine and is well known for being home to the Bay of Fundy, which has the highest tides in the world. Seafood, outdoor activities, and whale watching take center stage here in New Brunswick, so come along with me and let me show you around. My Bay of Fundy road trip to New Brunswick started by catching the ferry in Digby, Nova Scotia. I'm originally from the Pacific Northwest, therefore I'm quite familiar with boarding and riding a ferry, but this one was particularly different. From the configuration, boarding process, to the myriad seating options. The 2.5-hour journey was quite enjoyable, and the picture-perfect weather made for some wonderful photos. After disembarking on the shore of New Brunswick, I made my way to St. John, with just enough time to catch the waning light and some live music being performed. The next morning, I strolled around downtown St. John, where I met up with a special guest. So right now I am with Jillian McKinnon with Discover St. John here in New Brunswick. Now Jillian, you were telling me about the farmers market here in St. John.
Yeah. So the St. John City Market is Canada's oldest continuing farmers market. It's been around since 1876, survived the Great Fire of 1877 here in St. John, and has always been open, full of vendors, artisans. Beautiful place to take some pictures. The roof almost looks like the inverted hull of a ship, which is reflective of our shipbuilding history here in the city. So it's a great place that everybody must check out if they're here in the city.
Cool, I'm looking forward to it. So what are some other activities that I should not miss while here in St. John?
Okay, so St. John's the only city on the Bay of Fundy, home of the world's highest tides. Take a harbor tour. So go out on the water, see the city from the vantage of the water, go over towards the reversing rapids, and you can see where the Bay of Fundy collides with the St. John River, creates a series of whirlpools and rapids. It only happens here.
Okay, cool. And you were also telling me about this mural that was just painted.
Yeah, so Sean Euro, who goes by the street name Hula, is a street artist who paints on his paddleboard murals on abandoned ships, old walls. We brought him here to the city to show the power of the Bay of Fundy tides in an urban setting.
Wow.
So he balanced on his board and painted a giant mural that's revealed twice a day at low tide.
Oh my gosh, that sounds fantastic. And also, I think I was reading about a new attraction you have here.
Yes, so Skywalk St. John is going to be a fantastic way for people to experience the reversing rapids. You're going to walk out on a glass floor skywalk and be up above the reversing rapids happening below. Really excited about it. It's a really great way to, again, show the power of the Bay of Fundy tides here in our city.
Oh, that is awesome. So do you think I'll be able to get a sneak peek of this?
I think we can arrange it.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
Cool, let's go check it out.
All right.
I left St. John early the next morning to go on a hike at New River Beach Park along the Barnaby Head Coastal Trail. The beach in this area is quite an expansive stretch of sand. I imagine during a nice day, people must flock to this beach. So right now I'm in New River Beach Provincial Park, and I'm doing a little hike or maybe a bit of a stroll through the forest. It's really quite lovely. It didn't take but a moment past the trailhead marker before I was ensconced within a dense canopy of trees and fauna. It reminded me of the Pacific Northwest, where I'm originally from. Inside the forest, the overcast skies did not matter. It was a lovely hike met with bends in the trail, curvy boardwalks, and covered bridges. That afternoon, I drove to St. Martin's, where I unfortunately got the car stuck in the rocks and sand near the beach looking for a parking place. That was until a kind local literally snuck under the car to attach a chain and pull me free. The friendly Canadians live up to their reputation. As soon as I was safely parked, I was able to stroll the sea caves during low tide. A few hours later, I met up with Nick from Red Rock Adventures for a kayaking tour, and it was absolutely amazing to explore areas that I had just walked a few hours earlier. The next day, I headed west to St. Andrews by the Sea, where I had an interesting experience crossing a road that is only accessible during low tide. Minister's Island was once owned by railroad tycoon Sir William Van Horn, and his home was merely a cottage retreat for he and his family. Later that afternoon, I had another extraordinary experience.
Going whale watching. Fingers crossed, they want to be watched.
I went whale watching with the folks from Fundy Tide Runners. After a long boat ride to get to the open waters, it didn't take long before we saw the giant but graceful mammals of the sea. Our last sighting of the excursion was definitely the best one. This one came just feet from the boat and then dove right under us. After whale watching, I happened to notice this farmer's market, where I grabbed a wood-fired pizza, some fresh squeezed lemonade, and enjoyed some local talent. Later that afternoon, I checked into the historically exquisite Algonquin Resort, which dates back to the late 1800s.
What a beautiful day it is here in St. Andrews, perfect for a day at the links.
The coastal holes and stunning ocean views make this one special golf experience. My next couple of days were spent on the laid-back island of Grand Maman, about an hour-and-a-half ferry ride from Black's Harbor. Grand Maman is a fantastic place to get lost while not getting lost. Driving around the island and finding places to hike or discover romantic lighthouses was such a wonderful and relaxing experience. And New Brunswick is also known for having some dramatic coastline with jagged cliffs like these. This Bay of Fundy road trip often had me stopping for one stunning and unique sight after another. My next stop was to the Fundy National Park, where I went on several hikes. However, my favorite was to Dixon Falls. This 1-mile loop trail takes about 30 minutes to complete. The trail heads straight down and then follows along a little creek where many boardwalks are provided to navigate over some of the terrain, crisscrossing the creek several times along the way. There are many vantage points to view the falls and the creek. The woods are lush and green and almost look like a rainforest with all the variety of fern and moss that seem to thrive.
Well, my skepticism drew me to this next place where cars go up a hill, backwards, and in neutral.
What a strange phenomenon this was. Clearly an optical illusion. However, had I not tried it, I would have never believed it.
No way.
As you can see, it clearly looks like I am going uphill. You'll have to trust me, my car was in neutral. Continuing east, I stopped by one of New Brunswick's top attractions, Hopewell Rocks, which is probably the signature site for New Brunswick. Over thousands of years, erosion has carved coves and unique formations, even leaving a few trees stranded on top. I timed it so I would be there during low tide, and as soon as I had reached the sea floor, my enthusiasm for discovery kept taking me around each bend, in wonderment of this fascinating area that nature had created. Unfortunately, the waning hours reminded me that it was time to move on.
Wow, what a fantastic week I've had here in New Brunswick, road tripping around the Bay of Fundy. If you'd like to do a similar road trip, click the link below. If you have any questions at all, feel free to leave a comment. I'll be happy to answer them. And also, please don't forget to subscribe for more road trip travel videos. Well, that's it from New Brunswick. Until next time, we'll see you on the road.
MikeRoadTrip.com